I am really excited to introduce Roger Savy this morning. And those of you in the room, hopefully you've already had a chance to just say hi and meet him. What a special person that we have with us this morning. And I really take advantage of interacting with him this morning because he is, I had the pleasure of having dinner. Cass and I had dinner with him last night, and we got to learn a little bit. And I know that we just scratched the surface. So I'm excited to hear more from you this morning, Roger. And welcome to Main Tree and Wine Country.
I appreciate that. Thank you so very much, Larry. I got the honor of meeting Rip and Sage yesterday afternoon. We came out of Seamus T-Bone, and they were these two beautiful dogs just waiting for us. And it gave me inspiration to ask you this question. Who are the dog lovers, by the way, in the room? There are rooms for the dog lovers. I love it. You know, ladies and gentlemen, when you hold that tennis ball in front of the dog and you bounce it, and you watch that dog's eyes, you just watch it on the tennis ball, and then you turn around and hurl it, and that dog is after that tennis ball. Not the grandkids flying, not the Orondaks are flying. It's got a singular purpose. It's going to get that tennis ball. So the first question this morning is, what's your tennis ball? What gets you up in the morning so excited to go to work? What makes you think, who in my private gated community, there's a word, a new word, who in my private gated community, which is now the new word for your database, because database is an IT word, right? And you're not in IT, you're in the people business. Say yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so who in your private gated community today's life are you going to change? Somewhere, somebody in Eureka needs your help, and your abundant attitude with that tennis ball focus is going to go and help that person, because we live in an abundant universe and we can make a difference. Or are you just a realtor in Humboldt County? Just where's my lead? It's a tough market. What is the tennis ball telling you in your brain this morning? One gentleman didn't say the chat, so I wanted to. So I thought we'd begin with the dog analogy, that focus of that tennis ball. And you haven't met my business partner, Steve Gwenza, loan officer extraordinaire, but you will meet him on Monday mornings in future. He's going to endeavor to get to know you a little better, and you will see Steve in the future. But Steve, good morning to you out there. First question. I've got two questions to ask. First question. Some real estate agents that started at the same time as you in real estate have gone on to do very, very well. Is it because they know more about real estate than you? Is it because they're more intelligent than you? Shout out the answer.
Well,
no.
yes, because I started with Larry. So yes to those questions.
So, Larry, you are loved, clearly. You are loved. So the question is probably not. They're not more intelligent than you. They didn't go to a better school, but why have they gone on to do very, very well? And maybe you think, I should be there too. What is the difference? Why did someone go on to do very well and left you thinking, why not me? So who recognizes this guy?
It's Mozart.
That's Mozart. Where was he born?
In Germany.
Salzburg, Austria. Salzburg, Austria. And if you've ever been to Salzburg, Austria, what a beautiful place to be. They play that fine enough music, and the snow slowly falls, and you're drinking Glühwein, and it's just beautiful to listen to Mozart music. But he was a pretty cool dude, this guy. He was a pretty cool dude. Do you know what he did in his short time? 50 symphonies, 25 piano concertos, 12 violin concertos, 27 concert arias, you can read, 26 octets, 103 minuets, 15 masses, 21 operas, all by the age of 21. And at the age of 21, he came out with Piano Concerto 21 Andante. Just as at the age of 21, one of the most melodic, beautiful songs ever. That's fantastic. This is the His dad, Leopold Mozart, was a virtuoso himself. Leopold Mozart wrote a book on the violin. He was an instructor himself. And when he retired, Leopold Mozart, little Mozart was only 7 years old. And for the next 14 years, he put young Mozart and his sister by that piano for 7 hours a day for 14 years. 7 hours a day for 14 years. So the first question here, beautiful Mozart, was he gifted or practiced?
He was both.
Yeah, you could argue both, right?
He didn't know any different because he was young, too young to know that that isn't what everybody else.
Yes, we do. But he was practicing and practicing. And so yeah, we'll never quite work it out, right?
And I think that's what made him open his mind to the creative.
And once it started, it got better and better and better. So gifted or practiced. Now let's bring a little example, a little closer in time. Who recognizes this guy?
Yes.
That's Tiger Woods. And Tiger, he played golf with Bob Hope when he was 3 years old. Shot a 48 over 9 holes at the Navy Golf Club at 4, won the International World Comp at 9, full ride to Stanford on a scholarship. He won the Walt Disney Classic at 21, the PGA at 21, Las Vegas Invitation at 21, and signed a $40 million contract for endorsements at the age of 21. Right?
And
No, but down, Earl Woods, his dad, a colonel at New York University, taught tactics, and when he retired, Earl Woods, young Tiger was 7 years old. And for the next 14 years, he put Tiger on the links every day for at least 5 to 7 hours, every single day on those links. Question to ask about Tiger Woods, gifted or practiced? Again, right? I'll never quite know the answer, but these two examples that I gave you of Mozart and Tiger Woods, both of them put in the time to learn their craft. They put in the time every single day to enhance their skills. This book, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, and Talent is Overrated by Jeff Golden, puts this concept into crystal clarity. I know so many people who know everything about real estate but can't pay the rent. They know everything, can't pay the bills at the end of the month. Lots of talent, know everything, can't get any traction. Yet I know some people that are not the professors of real estate, yet seem to always be on vacation, seem to step out of the shadows. There's some contracts, disappear on vacation again, and are always making lots of money. Talent can be overrated. So what's going on here? What's going on? Anybody got this album at home? It was one of my favorites. I love Nirvana. I had to put a little ninja there because his woody was flapping all over the place there. So there's over there, over here, there is no doubt, the more time you put into practice, the more the achievement comes. The more time you put in, more achievement comes your way. There is a direct correlation and link. The more you practice your skill, rather than just talking about it, the more the reward, the more the intentional life comes to the fore. And according to all the professors and to Malcolm Gladwell, to become very, very good, a virtuoso like Mozart in your craft, you have to put in 10,000 hours. Very good, 7.5, good, 5,000. On average, how many hours do you think the average loan officer and realtor puts in? And there's the answer, about 1,640 hours of practicing their craft. So when you look at some of your colleagues that have gone on to do very well, ask yourself the question, gifted or practiced? It's a key fundamental thing in your brain. And you think, oh, no, Roger, what does that mean? I've got to go and get more designations, spend more time in the classroom. No, your skills are, what, if I was to ask you what industry you're in, what would you say? People. You're in the people industry. You don't communicate with houses. You don't communicate with plot maps. You don't communicate with condos. You manage the emotions of people. And you manage the emotions of people because they have to make a decision. And when people are going to make a decision, they're looking forward to a trusted advisor to help them with this. You are those trusted advisors. So those designer conversations, those times where you listen with great love in your heart and empathy, because these people are really important to you, you become the trusted advisor at that point. Your silence, your pause, the way you listen, the way you practice whole body listening, the way you take notes, the way you care, how you let them down, how you pick them up, is practicing your craft. Rather than reading graphs and charts and things which Larry can teach you, which Randy, Gary could teach you, I can do it fairly well. But it's time to get out of prediction and into production. It's time to move them from being terrified to being clarified. And you'll see why as we step forward here. By the way, if you were to practice these designer conversations for just 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, 3 times 5 is 15 hours a week of working on your craft. If you divide that into 10,000 hours, it takes you 12.2 years to become a master. But you can decide, hey, I can do it for more than 3 hours a day. I can do it for 5 hours a day. You'll cut down being a master from 12.2 years all the way down to 4, 5. Just deciding that you are in the people business and somebody in your town requires your help today. And somebody you know knows somebody who should know you. Listen to that very carefully. Somebody you know knows somebody who should know you. That's referral thinking. That's transformational thinking. When you love and care on the people that you know, the way they reward you is with a referral. That's how it works. And one of these days, if I'm ever fortunate enough for you to invite me back, I intend to teach you about Dunbar's number. The maximum amount of people you can have a meaningful relationship with at any one time is 150. And that's the magical number. So if you've got 2,000 people in your database, that's part of the problem. Because you're setting it and forgetting it. Now, where's my lead? Where is that 150 people? When we segment it really well, and to those of you that like to come and chat with me afterwards, how to segment that database into the right buckets to find that 150. When you love on that group every day, they know someone who needs to know you. Because each one of us knows 150 people. And 150 multiplied by 150 is 22,500 people. So when you're nice to the core 150, you get access to 22,500. Much smarter. It's the way you go from relationships to referrals without having to speak to a stranger, without having to buy leads from Zillow. Everybody with me at this point? Say yes.
Yeah.
Say yes with passion.
Yeah.
Okay, because passion is more infectious than hepatitis and COVID combined, right? And when you're really passionate, people wonder what you've been up to. And it's attractive. It's attractive to be passionate. All right, so let's keep on this, on our track here. So the end of this discussion that there's no silver bullet, there is no magic pill, there is no secret. But we as Americans, and I count myself as American because I am a citizen now, and I've been in a beautiful country 27 years.
All right.
Yeah, and I love it.
And where are you from?
I'm a South African.
Very nice.
Yeah, thank you. I'm from the deep South.
And I have Rhodesian Ridgebacks.
You have Rhodesian, yeah, they're beautiful dogs too. So there is no, but we love infomercial channels, right? Where you can just sit on the couch and for $25.99 a month, you can be the best lover in the world. You can lose all the weight. You can just do this and the checks just come flying through the mail. Don't fall into the trap. It's time to work on your craft. And your craft is you are paid directly, proportionately to how well you communicate. If your income is down, it means your communication skills are down. It's not about how much you know about real estate. Such an important point. I don't know how to make it more emphatically. I'm not talking too loud,
No.
All right. So my name is Roger. I'm the ambassador of optimism. I'm also known as the unshackler. I will find out where you are in space and time, and I will move you forward to your predetermined goal. And I have no preconceived ideas. And when people suddenly realize they've got options, that clarity sets them free and they thrive. Because I had an opportunity to be director of cardiovascular franchise for Bristol Myers Squibb. And in that capacity, I looked after 32,000 salespeople across 28 countries. And you learn something about it. When you first meet people, the facade is up, the brick wall is up. They give you the professional image, but when you show them how much you care, what would owning a home mean for you right now? Are you open to another opinion about this market? Why are we even having this discussion? They start hearing, notice the key questions that I'm giving you there. When they start hearing that, the brick wall begins to fall. They drop breadcrumbs for you to follow. And next minute, you're having honest conversations and those fears begin to go away. How are we going to have non-fear-based conversations? That's why I'm here today, to move them from terrify to clarify. Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. You'll notice that's my logo at the bottom. It says say yes. So I'm Ambassador of Optimism. I've got some fancy titles with my company. This is the one I prefer. Because there is nothing worse in this world. Go with me on this. When your heart is in the right place, you can't wait to love on people. If they just knew how nice you were, and you get ignored. There's nothing worse in this world than being ignored when your heart's in the right place. It's my intention for you to stand out. If you're driving on the road and there's lots of cows and things, it's beautiful, it's calming. It's calming. But people see you as cows in the field. It's my intention for you to become the purple cow. So we give the sudden pitch, there's a purple cow. You have to become the purple cow and stand up. And that's by having these designer conversations with that 150 people, which will change your life. And I'll be here for a couple of hours afterwards if you've got any specific questions about how I could help you with that. So I had this little discussion with Larry last evening. And when I was at college, I remember, especially doing English 1, that was the biggest auditorium at the university, 500 kids in there. The professor would walk in, stand there at the lectern, open his portfolio, and just start to speak. He didn't care that there was bedlam, that I was trying to chase the girl that was 2 rows in front of me because I thought she was the most beautiful girl in the world. Disrupting everybody. He didn't care. He was paid to speak for an hour. When he finished, closed his door, closed his portfolio, and walked out. He didn't care whether you passed or not. Hey, Kathy.
Good to see you.
So think about that. Are you a professor of real estate? You know all the answers, but you don't care whether the buyers sellers are listening or not. Contrast that to the primary care physician. You're going to sit there, you're triaged, you're waiting in the room, and you can hear the doctor shuffling with the paper next door on your door, just before he's coming in. Here he comes, here he comes. He walks in and he looks at you, and the smile beams. Good to see you again, he says. Kim, good to see you again. What brings you here? And you've only got 10 minutes with the doctor. You've only got 10 minutes. It's not like a lecture, only 10 minutes. And he wants to know about your siblings. That's interesting. Stop there. Tell me more about that. And he asks questions. And when you leave, you feel so close. You feel so good with the doctor. Are you primary care physicians in real estate, or are you professors? Do you have faces that look like incoming ballistic missiles, or are they friendly faces? Because sometimes people are really happy, and I think, oh, please tell your face. It's stern. Because 50% of your clients are amiable and expressive. They want to see some light in your face. But if you're analytical or a driver, stern, don't you lighten up a little bit? Listen a little more. You don't have to walk into a room smiling, because that's the smile for everybody. Walk into a room looking happy, and when you focus on the person that you really want to talk to, then let your smile beam for that person. Then that person knows it's for them. The way you walk into a room, your deportment, the way you dress, tells a million stories about who you are. Million stories. How you behave in here is how you behave out there. So, do you remember this from school? You know the periodic table? I just like that thing. Even though I was at college, they would never put one in front of us. I had to remember it I had to remember the thing, and still to this day, I'm traumatized by it. And so when they said, right, you can start, it was a science, I had to remember, no more old silicon paper sold closely around. Father breaks cold nitrogen over father's neck. I had all these little mnemonics to remember it. And so there's the periodic table, and it's science, and it's reliable, and we can look at it all the time. But there's an element that's missing from that. And that element, I just showed it there. It's H to H, human to human. That's what's missing from the periodic table. So you can know everything about real estate. You can know everything. If you don't work on the human to human factor, that's that 10,000 hours you're putting in. This will make the difference in your life. You don't have to worry about AI. You don't have to worry about chat GPT. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Because let's be real. Who picks out faces in a crowd better, you or AI?
We do.
No, AI does it way better than us at any time. What does math better, AI or us?
Oh, they do.
They do. Yeah, AI does it. That a huge industrial weld in a factory, AI does it way better than we can do it. Coming into land, a jumbo 747 in the middle of the ocean on a tiny island in the middle of the night during a storm, I want AI to land it. I don't want the human touch. Premature babies, I want AI to keep it alive, not the doctors. They do a fabulous job. What can AI not do?
Touch.
AI cannot do human to human relationships. It cannot make relationships. It cannot build that warmth. It cannot build up an emotional bank account. It doesn't listen, doesn't become the primary care physician. And the more you get involved with your 150 in your private gated community, the more the moat is there, the more the wall is there, AI can't get to. You're impenetrable from AI. You will have a fabulous career working on designer conversations with your people. Fair enough, say yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So this is a black swan. And a black swan event is like 9/11 was a black swan event. COVID was a black swan event. The Great Recession of 2009 was a black swan event. And sans a black swan event, the market we've got now is our new market. It's here to stay. Unless one of these happen again, we are now back into our new normal, and it's going to stay this way for the foreseeable future. The interest rates may flatten, may drift down a little bit, but we are just back to an average market of what it looked like prior to COVID. So this is the time now, and buyers and sellers are starting to realize that this is the normalization. They're coming out, and if Humboldt County is anything like Sonoma and Napa, the buyer traffic at the open houses is huge down there. What's it like here? It's huge. There's a pent-up demand. And so the good news here is that your income didn't go away, it was just on delay. It's going to come back plus, but it requires us to go out and calm the waters and have meaningful conversations with buyers and sellers. It's time for you to become doctors, primary care physicians from Better Homes and Garden, Mingtree, going out with a great attitude. And I'm going to pivot around and talk about what are those designer conversations to have. I intend for you to leave here with gold nuggets for you to use today and tomorrow. And this, all the graphs and charts that I look at, there's hope and growth in the data. Consumers are doing their homework more and more, and they're looking to you to help them make the right decision. There is no doubt. And a quick recap of where we came from. Not that none of us have forgotten. Challenging 3 years we've lived through in health and economics in the last 3 years. I can't even believe it often happened to us. We actually lived through a pandemic. It actually happened to us. It was unprecedented real estate market, full of uncertainty and challenges. There was a unicorn market, which I'm going to talk about, which is not average, what happened during COVID. And there's the new normal with lingering uncertainty, which is going to require you to remove that lingering uncertainty. And finally, confusion with headlines calling for imminent recession and downturn with plummeting prices. Turned out it's just not true. So here were the overtop forecasts at the end of 2022. This is Jeremy Siegel from the Wharton School of Business. I expect housing prices to fall 10 to 15%, and housing prices are accelerating on the downside. Wrong. But these were the gurus we look up to, and everyone else was looking up to. So your buyers and sellers said, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything because it's fear, delay. Look at Goldman Sachs. Home price models suggest home prices will decline by about 5 to 10% from the peak in the US. Economists at Goldman Sachs research say there are risks that the housing market could decline more than the models suggest. Again, that's right. That's something terrible. You see, everyone remembers 2009, right? No, sorry, 2006-07, when everything did crash. Do you remember? Housing prices did fall. Why? Because it was caused by lending. This is not caused by lending, but people have still got scar tissue. If you remember being beaten up, you think this is the same situation, but it's not. People have got more equity in their homes now than ever before. It's like the marquee. Even if they've got into a default or a foreclosure situation, they've got enough money to sell their home, pay the debt, and move on. Good lending, good standards. So it's not that. Mark Zandi from Moody's, typically it takes a while for sellers to cut asking prices as they psychologically can't get up on the highest Zillow price they've seen for their homes. Not this time, sellers are caving. Buckle in, assuming rates remain near their current 6.5 and the economy skirts recession, the national house prices will fall almost 10%, peak to trough. Most of these declines will happen sooner rather than later. Wrong. And this is what our clients were seeing, right? This is what they were seeing. And so your buyers and sellers are learning. They're getting to realize that they intend to talk with a trusted loan officer or realtor to help them move forward. By the way, the reason they got it wrong was for this. You can see in 17, 18, and 19, this is of May last year, comes the normal seasonal downturn. But in 22, that red line, they just saw it going up and up and up. So they expected this. But in fact, what happened was this. And so now we're way behind on inventory and all that kind of stuff. And by the way, the builders are 14 years behind the population growth. It is a simple supply and demand. They're not going to catch up for 14 years. So there's going to be this demand for housing, this demand for people to suddenly realize moving on with my life is way more important than the interest rate. And there's that realization that is settling in, and it requires you to have this conversation, not wait for CNN or Fox or CNBC to do it for you. Because for them, they never get the context right, and if it bleeds, it leads. They love dramatics. Oh, and by the way, when you do go out and talk to buyers and sellers, please actually show them these charts and graphs, why people got it wrong and why real estate is local. Because people believe 85% of what they see and only 15% of what they hear. So you can really maximize the time that they hear you by showing them stuff. Because when the two of you are standing shoulder to shoulder, looking at something, then the two of you are working together, right? Rather than it's going to crash. No, it's not. You're doing this at each other. You're facing each other, and you are, in fact, bopping them on the nose and telling them they're wrong. Show them. It's called triangulation. Then the two of you are together, agreeing on something. It's a key point in communication skills. By the way, look how appreciation has skyrocketed in the last 3 years. Look at San Francisco, almost up 30% in the last 3 years. And it's got, and apart from San Jose, maybe some of the tech-heavy areas where it went down by about 10%. Nationwide, up 41.8% nationally. It's quite something. It's really quite something. So they do this consumer confidence in home prices every single year. You can see it from 2010 all the way to 2022. And on average, people think between 9 to 12% think every year prices are going to drop the next year, right? In December of 22, almost 40% of people thought prices were going to drop. Delay, 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 delay. And if they're not talking to a trusted advisor like you, it's delay, delay, delay. It's time for some great education. 1 in 4 Americans honestly believe the market's about to explode. And 1 in 3 realtors believe the same thing. I love these pictures. Look at the years prior to COVID, 17, 18, 19, and the beginning of 2020. Those were known as the Goldilocks years. Not too hot, not too cold, just perfect. Then unicorn hits. The unicorn years. Unicorns are desirable. We want them. Not coming back. It's gone. And you can see up there the EKG at the end there. The EKG has normalized. It was all cattywampus up until now. It's going all it. It's sped up, sped up. Now the EKG has normalized. 72 beats per minute. And the interest rates are what the interest rates are. And as soon as the Fed says we're going to stop raising the overnight rate, that 140 basis points that is in the interest rates now will begin to just drift down. And the demand is going to get higher and higher and higher. Oh, but Roger, what's going to be when you bring out a 40-year mortgage rate? We can do a 40-year mortgage. You know what that does? It increases demand, not enough supply. Roger, what about more down payment programs? Got some. Increases demand, not supply. So now's the time. There's never been a better time to get in before the rush starts. And only 3 times in the last 75 years have prices in the United States gone down. Only 3 times in 75 years. This is the way Joe Public builds wealth. There's only one. Again, I like talking analogies. Not too hot, not too cold, just perfect. Those who try COVID. Unicorn years not coming back. The EKG has normalized. Talk like this. Talk like this to your buyers and sellers. They love it. Remember, your buyers and sellers don't listen to the most intelligent person in the room. They listen to the person that they understand the most. We see this in politics. They like it if you're strong and wrong, rather than weak and right. Buyers demand returns, and you can see it very confirmed. There's buyers everywhere, and they're waiting for you to complete the final piece of the jigsaw. They do a lot of their homework. They just require you to complete the jigsaw puzzle, which is the fear they're feeling of actually selling or buying. I love this as well. On the left-hand side, the market activity survey conducted in May by Freddie Mac, 18% say they're likely to buy a home in the next 6 months. Do you know what that number normally is? It's normally 8%. That just tells you of the pent-up buyer demand. And those of us that get into action and practice our craft every day with those 150 very key people in our private gated communities, your future is certain. The consumer survey on home prices. Anyone recognize who this is? Vince Lombardi. Vince Lombardi.
Yeah.
We got a loan officer in our company called Leon Creed. I'm convinced Leon Creed doubles for Vince Lombardi. Anyway, it's Vince Lombardi. Look at his comment. Confidence is contagious. So is lack of confidence.
True.
Isn't that true? Isn't that true? So let's say we use this today as an example. We come to the meeting and Roger gives you 1 or 2 good ideas. Okay, that's a pretty good idea. I'll go and try that tomorrow. And then we take an early lunch, go home, try it with a client. What was that thing that Roger said? No, I can't remember. You see, if we don't implement within 72 hours, the law of diminishing intentions settles in. Take these ideas that I'm about to suggest to you and practice them a little bit. Play in your brain a little bit. Stand in front of the mirror in your bathroom and open your mouth and hear yourself saying the words. I hear you. But help me understand, looking reflective. What would owning a home mean to you right now? Let's put your fear over here. What would owning a home mean to you right now? I hear you. Why are we even having this conversation? Hear yourself saying it. Feel comfortable with it. When those words come out of your mouth, It should be like introducing an old friend. It should flow. But if you don't rehearse it, then you're going to say, that guy Roger doesn't know what he's talking about. Because you didn't put in the practice, those 10,000 hours of thinking about how those words sound to other people. Do you remember when you were at school and you went to your combination lock at your locker? You know, 1, 2, 3. Then the locker opens. You can't get it out of sequence. 1, 2, 3. What to say, how to say it, who to say it to. 1, 2, 3. Like a combination lock. Right? So 1 and 4 still believe prices will depreciate. In your database, sorry, private gated community. 1 and 4 believe the prices are going to depreciate or go all the way down. Great conversations to be had. I love this one. 65% of homeowners who desire to sell their home within 6 months, who are more inclined to do so after speaking to them. It required a conversation with an agent, then 65% were more likely to sell their home. So on the buyers and sellers side, it requires an agent who speaks, calls, chats with them, stays in the flow, and is confident, is calm, is passionate, hears them, listens to them, and finds out more about their dreams before you tell them they're wrong. Very important. Because when you find out what their why is, what their need is, what they're running towards, what they're running from, then suddenly the two of you are standing together, focusing on their dream, rather than talking about fears. So this is our new normal. During the unicorn years, if a buyer or seller didn't respond to you, you just went next. They just came out of the woodwork. Now you require influence. Now you require sales. Now we have to remember that we're in the people business, filled with emotions. It's time to get back to dealing with the F word, feelings. Again, I mentioned the greatest housing shortage in modern history. And if rates come down, will it be more palatable? Of course. But the demand is going to be off the charts. Get in now. Get in now. Roger, what happens about 40-year mortgages, down payment programs? Yes, it's going to cause even more demand. It's time to have these conversations now. The fierce urgency of now. So it's not what it's going to cost them to move, the down payment, the monthly payment. It's not what that. Now, rather, what is it going to cost if you don't move? That's the real cost. And money and headaches. What's it going to cost you to sit on the sidelines? Because if you zoom out 5 years from now, in any situation in the United States, it was always a good time to jump into real estate. It was always a good time. There was never a bad time. Because there is such a thing as refinance. You can refinance later. You can. If you're in good standing, it's time to move on with your life. Otherwise, you're not going to get in. Demand is going to outstrip supply. Larry, does that make sense?
Absolutely,
Still
absolutely.
good. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing backflips here.
Well, that's good.
It's always a good time to buy a house.
It's always a good time to buy a house. And remember, you're not selling houses, right? You're not. What are you selling?
Lifestyle.
Lifestyle. Lifestyle. When you, I often stop at open houses just to keep my finger on the pulse, what's happening in the market and the standards of what I see. And sometimes I'll find the real estate agent, welcome, come on in, come, it's a nice place, have a look around, I'll be here if you've got any questions. You see, there's the professor. I'll be here if you've got any questions. And people don't say anything, they walk through and they walk out. What a waste of time. No engagement. Welcome, what brings you here? Are you looking for an investment and a great house to buy? What have you seen that you've loved? Do you folks live in the area? This excitement of finding out more. Sometimes they're in the backyard smoking. I'll be here for questions. They're showing them around. We're showing them around the house. Going, now this is the kitchen, and I got. This is the kitchen. Rather, can you see yourself entertaining here? Now look at this vista. Imagine waking up here. That's the selling of the lifestyle. Styles. So if you want to influence someone, find out what's really influencing. Why are we having this conversation? what would owning a home mean to you right now? If I could bring Superman or Super Lady here and interest rates weren't the price, weren't the concern in your mind, what would selling and moving on and going to another state mean to you? Find out. Keep going. Acknowledge the fear. Don't believe them, but put that fear in the parking lot and go deep with them. Go deep. Find out what's influencing them. Influencing is leadership, and you are leaders. You're not just, I'm a realtor in Humboldt, where's my lead? You're not just that. That's what cows in the field do. But you are the purple cow, right?
With bells on.
With bells on. Would you agree? My name's David, right? David?
Yes, sir.
It's David. Sir, my name is
Rolling,
Roland.
yes.
David, Roland, would you believe, would you agree that your clients, the people who know that you're a fabulous real estate agent, that you go around the world to bring them a glass of water, right?
Yes.
They know that. They know that your moral compass is facing in the right direction. You would do your duty. You would walk away from the deal if it was not right for them. They know that you're a fabulous person, Roland, David. If that's true, they know how good you are. They know you're in real estate. They know you've been doing it for a while. They know that your heart is in the right place. If that's true, please answer this question. What's the number one reason you aren't receiving a referral from everybody in your database / private gated community? If they know this about you.
They all know 5 realtors.
You're not asking for it.
You're not asking for it, that's definitely a reason. What else?
You're not touching them then.
You're not touching them enough, you're not on the flow of them, right?
They think we're too busy.
They think they're what?
They think we're too busy for them.
Ah, we got close there. It's called perceived indifference. It's not that you don't like them. It's not that they don't like you. They perceive you've gone on to do well and you don't need them. And they'll give their little referral to someone who stops in just to smell the roses with them. Somebody right now is eating your lunch because you're into graphs and charts and what's this terrible market doing, and you're forgetting to be in that designer conversation. To those 150 people that love you, care you, trust you. It's time to stop letting perceived indifference get in the way. It's time to spend 3 or 4 hours every single day doing 2 emails, 2 voicemails, 2 personalized notes. 2 by 2 by 2. That's only 6 people a day. 2, 2, 2. That's a little system that's very simple to do. 2 emails, 2 voicemails, 2 personalized notes. To those 150 people that you have selected out of your private gated community, and you will smash perceived indifference. But I can already hear what the brain is saying to you. That's all fine, Roger, but what do I say? It's been so long. I haven't spoken to them for a while. They don't need to buy a home. They've already got it, so I'm not going to bother them. And so you see what starts? You see what starts? That negative talk that takes you away from that singular focus. It's like that dog chasing that ball. Suddenly, when you come to pick up that phone, your brain starts going, oh, but I don't know what to say. Maybe they're angry with me. Maybe I'm bothering them. They don't need to buy. Maybe I'll go to the Warriors game first and I'll call them tomorrow. And stop.
Wait, you're talking about just calling them to like say hi,
Just
right?
to get back to break perceived indifference, because
Yeah, you're just calling to hang out with them,
you're just going to hang out with. Oh man, what is your name?
Teresa.
Teresa. Thanks, Teresa. Teresa, there's a reveal in front of you. Once you carefully unravel that thing, be very careful.
Yeah.
Be very careful.
You picked the wrong person. Gosh.
Cost of fortune is one of the most terrifying things in the world.
It's probably a phone or something. Oh, gosh, yes.
Look at that thing. Look at that thing. Lisa, why don't you hold it out for the so the camera can see it?
Come on, Vanna. Do it, Vanna.
Let's see.
Can everyone see it? Oh,
Thank you. Thank you. Look at that.
Yes.
Something happens when you see that thing. Everything we want.
You gotta give these, you need to start from a picture.
Love
So that brings us all there.
it. Diner.
So, ladies and gents, your mind is not there to make you successful. Your mind is there to protect you. And your mind wants guarantees. It wants certainties that when you do something, that of course they will say yes. They want guarantees. Your mind wants, you pick up that phone and you call, they're going to go, oh, good to hear from you. Come and get a listing. That's what your mind wants to hear. And in the absence of that, because there is no guarantee, you would rather not make the call. That's what your mind does. That's actually your ego. Your ego is endeavoring to keep you safe. Say after me, I want you to say loud for me. When I say at the end of the sentence, go. Your ego is not your amigo.
Your ego is not your ego.
Ego is not your amigo. Your ego cannot tell the difference between a prospecting call and a saber-toothed tiger coming to attack you on the plains of Africa when we were a species of little influence. When we used to predate from the lions and the hyenas. That's what your ego does, is to protect you from those days when the trees used to move a little bit, you go, oh, run back to the cave. That's where it came from. And it's that instinctual environment that's deep in our brains. Your ego is not your amigo. And so I teach something called the PIN, write it down, P-I-N. Whenever you're about to make the call, P-I-N, you remember P stands for be present. Just be present. No baggage, no baggage. I'm present. I am a fabulous real estate agent in Humboldt. I am a gift. I am a solutionist. And I'm going to relinquish attachment to the outcome. I'm just here. I'm a fabulous person. PIN. I am innocent. I bring no baggage with me. I have no prejudgment of you. And I'm going to enjoy this call. I'm present. I'm innocent. And the N, no negative thoughts. P-I-N. This is the only way you're going to beat the fear of picking that up that phone. P-I-N. As a species, we are stuck until we can get past managing our egos. We're stuck. In fact, our egos want, here's the little byline for your ego. Seek and do nothing. That's the ego's byline. Seek and do nothing. And we're stuck. It wants maximum salary, maximum comfort, and the least amount of work. Your ego is not actually you. It's just endeavoring to keep you safe. Fight it. Fight it every day. And finding your clients, I heard Larry said, this is, what are the problems your clients are endeavoring to solve? What are they running from? What are they running towards? And it's always emotion. It's always emotion. So we want a bigger house. But what would meaning a bigger house do for you? I could get my mom to move in. I could get go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. It's always emotional. It's always emotional. So Larry reminded me last night that he speaks about Ford. Someone tell me what Ford stands for, please.
Family, recreation, dreams, and occupation.
Occupation.
Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Ford. Some people do FROG, which is family, recreation, occupation, and goals. Same thing. What are dreams? What are dreams?
What's
What-
your wish for?
Desires.
What are you guys looking forward to? Have you got the vacation you plan? All that kind of stuff. Those are dreams. Yeah, that's things. That's dreams. So Ford. So Ford is an approach to get into the conversation. But people say to me, Roger, I can't just call and talk about the family. I haven't spoken to them for 6 months. And how do I just go in and say, how's the family? Without it's being perceived indifference. I haven't spoken to them for 6 months. You see, I know that's what it is that's holding people back. Once a certain critical period of time has gone past, people are just too far to pick up that phone. Then they'd just rather have the CRM, send the silly newsletter and the crazy recipe and hoping that'll do the job. Now, where's my lead? So how do you get into the conversation with people that you have not spoken to for 6 months to a year? You've come to this Roger class. I'm going to do a 2 by 2 by 2 every day. To email, to voicemail, to personal notes. But what do I say to people I haven't been speaking to for 6 months to a year? What do I say? How do I begin to get into a forward conversation? When the world gives you lemons, you make lemonade. When the wind blows, you make lemons. It's ringing. Larry picks up the phone. Yes, you're getting close. Larry picks up the phone. Larry, yes. Hi, this is Roger. I know it's a blast from the past, but I could kick myself. I'm going to speak to you more often. You crossed my mind last night, and I wasn't going to let another day go past. How are you doing, Larry? Please tell me everything's good. See, unburdened. You're unburdened. So the thing is, I could kick myself. I was in your file last night. You crossed my mind last night. Couldn't let another day go past. Please tell me everything is good. That's how you break the big pink elephant. I could kick myself. And it just starts. Then organically, it'll go there. Family, occupation, recreation. And don't feel you have to talk about every one of them. Just pick family. Next time you call, pick another string about the family. Next time, maybe occupation. You can string this out. But when you are having these conversations, these forward conversations, what are you actually listening for? What are you listening for? You're listening for change in your life. You are listening for the 8 Ds. I'm about to show you. When you're talking to them, you are listening for the 8 Ds. First one, diamonds and diapers. First one, diamonds and diapers. Who just got engaged? Friends that have got engaged. Immediately your brain goes, oh, they're going to need a house. Where they're going to tell me more about it. How can I help them? See, there's been a baby in the house.
Bigger home.
Bigger homes. You're listening for change. Now there's opportunities to get involved. So diamonds and diapers. What are the next two?
Diploma.
Diplomas and default. Again, there's change going on in the house. There's change going on, and you listen for that. And by the way, and put these up in front of you before you make the call. So you're listening out for it. Death, of course, the real thing in life. Right? I know in Washington State, where I came from for a while, some of the older people, when they passed, their homes were normally fully paid for, but much smaller. And they bequeath the home to their kids. And the kids go, yeah, I've got mom and dad's home, but it's too small to live in. And they sell mom and dad's home, sell their home, and buy up. So one death, 3 real estate transactions. So give it thought, right? There's stuff that goes on. Designation. There's been a promotion in the office. My designation's changed. You've got a bigger job. So there's more money in the house. What does that mean? Maybe there's an investment property that's required. Whatever it is, just listen.
Relocate.
Relocate. Divorce, of course, COVID brought divorce up to a horrible level. Sometimes you have to mediate, put them in 2 different rooms while they duke it out, right?
It's hard to live with another person.
It's true.
It's hard to live with yourself sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely right. And then the final one is destination relocations. So there are 8 Ds. Think about these. You're listening for change. You're listening for what's going on. What are they running towards? What are they running away from? And you will uncover it. These will float to the surface. It's almost always common sense what people should do. They require you to ask the questions just like a good primary care physician does. And so when you hear fear-based objectives, well, I want to do this, but I can't do it now because the housing market's going to explode or the interest rates are too high. Stop believing them. Acknowledge them, but stop believing them. And so if you were to say, oh, do you think the pricing is going to explode? Tell me more about that. That's not the one to tell you more about, because now their fear gets bigger. Don't let them expand upon their fears, because in fear, we only do 4 things. We flight, fight, freeze, or fawn. We don't want them to do any of that. We don't need more fear, but acknowledge it and say, I hear you, but what would owning a home mean to you? And let that fear be there in the parking lot. And now we're going to talk about their whys. Hello, good morning. So when you hear fear-based objectives, right, all good. Can we go through? You're in the right place. Hey, Emily. Good morning, everybody. All good. So stop believing them, hear them, make a note of it. Then you say to them, Point is now not to debate them now. You haven't earned the right to debate them. What you're going to find out now is why are we even having this conversation? Don't tell them they're wrong. It's their truth. Don't bop them on the nose. It's their truth. Your goal is to find out their why. What is their goal? What is their stuff? So the art of the pivot. I hear you. I understand. However, help me understand why you want to make a move in the first place. Help me understand. What would owning a home mean to you and your family right now? This is the way you pivot away from fear and start talking about them, their needs, their wants. Well, there's been diamonds, diapers, divorces, destinations, all these things will come out now. It'll come out. What is their motivation and their fear? They've got two different things. You want their motivation to go up and you intend their fear to go down. And you do that by hearing the fear, putting it in the parking lot, and going deeper on why it is an important time for them. And when you've heard what it is, and they say, I want my mom to move and I want little Johnny to have his own room. You've heard it. What would little Johnny having his own room mean? And keep going. And what would having your mom there mean for you? Oh, my wife would be so happy, this and that and that. What else? And they keep telling you, what else? And eventually they say, I don't know what else. Then you know you've hit it. Then you know you truly understand that why. Then you know. And so in this environment, if you don't pivot, you can find out there why the game is over. It's over. And spend at least 5 to 10 minutes talking about their truth. Once you've found it, so that's fabulous. And what would that mean? Close to the universities, just talk about their why, 5 or 10 minutes. And that's where you go. May I give you some of my perspectives? Now is the time to bring the reality of what you understand about the market. Now the two of you are standing shoulder to shoulder, looking at their why. You found it. It's a triangulation. You found it, and now you say, now I'll give you some of my perspectives. You're ready with your charts and the graphs, all that kind of stuff. Why the rest of the world got it wrong, why real estate is so local that we called it 3 times, location, location, location. Why? It's important. You can use words like, are you open to another professional? These are nice, gentle ways to bring them back to the reality of getting past their fears. Now is the time for your truth with their truth realized. Very, very important. So, are buyers and liars? Think buyers are liars?
Sellers are no tellers.
Sellers are the tellers. I've got a new angle on that. Buyers are funny, sellers are money.
Right.
Buyers are funny, sellers are money. Buyers are funny, they're not liars. We just don't ask the right questions and they are fearful. And if you don't get to the real why, what they tell you is just to get rid of you. That's why they're liars. It's a breakdown on our communication skills. Liars are not liars. Buyers are funny, sellers are myth. So, humans are not logical and don't avoid the F word, the feelings. They don't know their feelings, you don't know nothing. So it's really, really important. Anyone see this movie? I'm going to go through this very quickly. Glengarry Glen Ross. I would have shown you this, but the language is a little too colorful for the ladies in the room here. But Alec Baldwin is the sales manager at Richard Murray, a sales firm, and he comes into the room and all the salespeople are there. Jack Lemmon, Ed Harris, Kevin Spacey, who's the guy? What's his name? Al Pacino, there was someone else. Whatever it is, and they're all realtors, and he fires them all. He fires them all. And he then says, in good news, you've got 24 hours to get your job back. Kind of stuff. And it's a fiery meeting where he says, in real estate, it's ABC, always be closing. Fortunately, ladies and gentlemen, those days are gone. ABC does not mean always be closing. And it was that kind of sales that did bad for us. ABC now means always be contributing. ABC now means always be connected. And that's all part of that being a primary care physician, talking to people. If I'm at a networking function and I meet you, and I'd really like to get my relationship better with you. I'm a networking function. I know you're a high net worth individual. I'd like to get you into my database, but I don't want you to be a line in my database. I want to build a relationship. Trish, it's been really nice. Trish, huh? Teresa, husband, just see the T. Teresa, Teresa, what is your biggest challenge you've got going right now? See, that's a great question. What's your greatest challenge you've got? What, in real estate? No, just in general. What's the biggest challenge you're having right now? Well, if I could just get my daughter to listen to me, she comes on late at night and, oh, what have you tried so far? What's your biggest challenge? What have you tried so far? Well, send it to the school counselor, and I'll work it out. Well, sounds like you've got a plan. What's your next first step? So speak to the school counselor. Oh, soon, you know. So there's the question. What's your biggest challenge? What have you tried so far? What's your next first step and by when? Because then you can say, you know, I've got a book at home with a chapter that I think you should read. Would you mind if I send that book on to you? You know, I know someone in my community as a real estate agent. I'm out and about. I know great people. Would you mind if I put the two of you together? If I can get you to say, that's really nice, Roger, thank you. Oh, I'm ahead of the curve now. I'm adding massive value as a real estate agent, at a networking function, just by asking those great questions. And when I do approach you, Teresa, I'm not going to approach you directly. I'm going to meet Teresa. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stop 6 feet away from the side, and I'll put my palm out and I'll say, Teresa, would you mind if I introduce myself to you? Because we are predators. Our eyes are close together. When we walk towards each other, we evoke only two feelings, fight or flight. You don't want either. Have you noticed prey? Prey have got their eyes on the side of the head like horses. Prey are here, predators are here. So we are predators naturally. So let's get rid of those feelings. Approach from the side, stop 6 feet away. May I introduce myself? Speak 1/3 slower. Because when you speak 1/3 slower, your brain hears what's coming out of your mouth. You don't run your mouth, you don't say things that you can't deliver. You get your breathing under control, and suddenly you take control of the conversation. It's a whole different feeling. You are paid directly proportionately to how well you communicate in real estate. Fair enough? Say yes.
Yes.
As I wrap this up. So you will get to meet Steve Grenza on Mondays. He's going to be part of your team meetings. He's a fabulous individual, very knowledgeable. He's not going to come and tell you all about interest rates. He's truly interested in products that he's got and how it matches to a profile in your private gated community. More reasons to engage with people. It's not just about interest rates. And this is my last slide, ladies and gents. It's the wheels of life. We all begin here, right? We all started in there, and we end up there. Where are you? When is it time? When is it time? I'm here, getting close to here. So it's time. It's time. It's time to decide that you are a gift. You are a solutionist. You're not just a real estate agent in Humboldt. And if I approach you and ask you what you do for a living, I don't want to hear I'm a real estate agent in Humboldt County. Because then you are behaving like 99% of the cows in the fields. What I want to hear from you is, Roger, I walk a mile in my client's shoes because I don't live with them, but I have to live with myself. They will make the finest decisions in real estate. Now you've got my attention. Now you've got my attention. I don't live with my clients. I have to live with myself. They will make great decisions in real estate. Whatever it is, anything but I'm a real estate agent in Humboldt County. And finally, this is the Rainmaker's affirmation. Someone, somewhere in my city needs my services. My job today is to find that person. Let's go. And you can do that. You're singularly focused, just like that dog this morning when we spoke about. Larry, you invited me to your fabulous location. I appreciate it so very much. I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to hand this meeting back to you. I think I probably went over just a little, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. What's going on? Who's going to tell us? Let's take Roger and share with us. Thank you, Roger. And let's put it to work. It does nothing but benefit everyone.
It does not.
Thank you very much.
You're so very welcome. And as I said, I'm going to be here for another 2 hours. If anybody wants to chat about anything that's on your mind, I can't answer intense product problems. I would refer that to Steve or someone who's more intelligent than me. But anything about people, situations, scripts, dialogues, a niche, just another angle, time blocking, energy, I'm a man.
breaking up your sphere. That's
Yes, breaking up the spirit.
I love the gated
Hey.
community.
Hey, everybody, really take advantage of Roger being there. Great presentation, Roger. I want to make it clear that the only way you guys will ever see me is that guy with a big grin on his face driving the convertible, okay? I'm not going to be that lower line ever. So just want to clarify that. And Roger, again, everybody take advantage of him being there. Try to get some one-on-one time. And if you're feeling stuck, this is a guy that can help unstick you. So again, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Randy. Thanks. Right, everyone, this is the Savvy Fair. There we go.
Hey, Larry. I just want to say that my family from Texas was out and we were in a big van going on whatever trip. And my brother-in-law's phone rings and it just wanted to be his financial advisor from wherever, just calling him to check up on him, see how he's doing. So it kind of rang a bell. You know what? I need to do more of that.
Absolutely.
Facebook help. Cause you can send a text, oh my gosh, it's like you saw your grandbaby here.
Right, but when he said about the voice and the emotion, it's hard to get emotion over Facebook. Whereas when you're talking
And
with someone,
personal too.
you get the personal, so yeah, I'm definitely.
Absolutely, and one loving, kind, gentle, empathetic phone call is worth more than 1 year's worth of emails and postcards.
Absolutely, yeah.
So see their business on Facebook and all that. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It really winds up with dinner.
Yeah.
And alcohol.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody. Office is open. Those of you that didn't make it in the office, we'll be here for a few hours. Stop by if you can. I've got fresh coffee on.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
You got my house.
I'll just stay here if anybody wants to
Yeah.
chat.
See, Ocean Drive.
Nobody wanted to.
Nice to meet you too, Emily. Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you. All good.
Yeah, it's funny, but I know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, and my, and then I was sitting like, but I was just on you.
I think this- I think this-